December 23rd, year of our Lord, 2024. We give thanks to the Lord and all of our blessings. And I give thanks for you for tuning in.
Using free speech to free minds.
To the greatest broadcast ever, of course. So, as you can see, we have money falling behind me. And the Federal Reserve, they could print it a heck of a lot faster than it could fall on that TV. And that's part of the problem with having a fiat currency backed by nothing, is they could just come in and destroy it. So let me go into a little bit about the fiscal position we are in for 2025. Well, actually, the fiscal poison that we are in. For the first 2 months of the budget deficit for 2025, we already racked up $624 billion. That is a 65% increase over the same 2 months a year ago. To put this into perspective, Congress has spent more money than the entire year of 2009 during the financial crisis. And that was during when the Federal Reserve launched QE, which QE, quantitative easing, is just another fancy word for inflation. If the United States stays on a glide path or cruise control with no extra spending for all of 2025, we will have added $3.65 trillion in new debt just for the year of 2025. Now, sadly, we know that that's not the case already, because Republicans and Democrats just passed a budget where they just added $350 billion in new spending. That does not include future disasters or wars, okay? They just added that. Now, my question was, couldn't we at least if last year was the most spending that we've spent, exceeding COVID, couldn't we at least live on that budget for next year? Well, apparently not, because the control perverts in DC, they have other plans. And their plans are to create inflation, steal your purchasing power, to buy votes. Now, we have to understand that when you print money out of thin air, printing money in itself is a tax. And it's one of the most horrible taxes that a government can levy on a people. Now, right now, we have governors, including my own here in South Carolina, DeSantis, the one in New York, the one in Michigan, Newsom in California, who are showing better than average on bringing in taxes. So it's making them look really good. Just like it messes with the GDP, right? It makes it, right, when you're spending a lot of money, then I'll give you an example regarding autos that just came in. But when you are creating inflation, what happens is, as the prices go up, you have sales tax, gas taxes, property taxes, all these taxes that are levied down. As it's going, 7% here, 20% there, 30% in new insurance costs, all those extra tax dollars go to your state houses. They go to your county, local government, state, and whatever they don't steal, the federal government ends up taking. So it's making a lot of governors look a hell of a lot better than they actually are. We have several states that show surpluses that actually would be hemorrhaging if not for the money that they're stealing. But, you know, when you live on a Keynesian system of printing money, blowing up deficits, you know, blowing up, sound economic policies, all to buy votes, you end up with all of this type of inflation. Now, it is, very important to understand that all of this stuff is avoidable. Okay? Everything that the government is doing can be avoided. But see, the politicians don't want to avoid that stuff. So what happens is you keep getting a lot of the same thing, because no politician wants to go home and tell their voter, hey, we're going to cancel your program. We're going to cancel your subsidy. Okay? So it is very important that that somebody tells the truth on this, because we just had an election, and the election was very, very clear on how that government was spending too much. I mean, Trump won. I mean, he won resoundingly on the economy. How did Republicans repay those voters? Well, they added another $350 billion on top. Now, granted, our friend Elon Musk and Vivek, they went down to D.C., and yeah, they shrunk the amount of papers. I mean, it was something like 1,700 pages, and now it's down to like 150 pages. But it's not the amount of pages. It's not the amount. It's what's on the pages that matter. And so, there's a whole shell game here going on. And you're not going to get, the truth from, CNN, Newsmax, Fox News. My God, Fox News. The other day I was in a Chinese restaurant and Bret Baier was on. And they didn't have the volume on, but you could see his guest. Now, I have not watched Fox News, admittedly, since right before Trump was leaving office, right around then. And it's the same people, and they have the same opinions. And what they do is they give the people something I call, or you've probably heard it before, called copium. I'm going to give you what you want to hear. And that's why everybody's in their own silo. They just want to hear themselves speak. They just want to hear what makes them feel good. So that's going to be the difference with me. I'm not going to tell you what you really want to hear. I'm going to give it to you straight out. You, your children, your grandchildren are being robbed daily. Now, a question was posed to me about closing the gold window. Nixon closed the gold window August 15th of 1971, okay? And he promised us, he says, listen, $1 today will be the same dollar worth tomorrow. Well, you've seen exactly what happened. Started rationing oil, okay? Started rationing food. The economy was in complete shambles as a result. Since closing the gold window, we have lost 87% purchasing power, not including this year alone. So this is as of last year. So we're probably closer to 95% from 1971. So what has this done? This has made buying a home unaffordable. This has made cars unaffordable. Healthcare unaffordable. It has, we're creating poor millionaires. I know I have a buddy who has a house in Florida, and it's a $4 million house right by the water, and he doesn't have homeowners insurance. Okay, and it's like, well, why won't you have the homeowners insurance? Well, because the government's going to bail me out. This is the attitude that people have, So, and we just had Rand Paul challenge a fellow senator the other day on the floor of the House, on the floor of the Senate, on the flood insurance bill budget, and basically challenged it and said, hey, can we at least exclude covering Cher's house, covering Biden's mansion? How about we cover homes like the middle class, the poor people, and let the wealthy figure it out and create a market? Senator Kennedy, that was the name. Senator Kennedy came back and said, we can't do that. No, we have to insure Cher's house. A $30 million house on the water. We have to do it. And this is why we are 36 trillion and counting in debt. Okay? Because no politician wants to tell any voter, no, you're not going to get it. Right? Let me just explain one thing that Sweden does regarding their Social Security. Now, these are socialists, mind you, in Sweden. Sweden's economy, when their economy slows down, they lower all the benefits. They say, hey, look, we have to tighten our belt. The economy's not doing good. So we have to cut back a little bit on these programs. Okay, so the Swedish people, the citizenry, they prepare. In America, nobody prepares, right? In 2022, let's put this into perspective. We had our first time that Social Security brought in less money than it took in, by $18 billion. Then in 23, it took in $22 billion less. Now in 24, it's $40 billion. Okay? Now, knowing this, Congress put this Social Security Fairness Act in that's now giving away more Social Security to people who didn't even put in. And that's going to be another $20 billion every year for the next 10 years. And, hey, Ray Wheat, how you doing, buddy? I appreciate you. I love you. So you're 40 billion in the hole. You add 20 on top. How ridiculous is that? Right? And there's only a handful of Republicans left. One of my favorites, Rand Paul, he's a favorite. Thomas Massie, he's another favorite. But these things are passing with 70, 75, 80% Republicans, so-called conservatives. This is why I left the Republican Party. I left them. They're a bunch of rhinos, There are a few that I would support, like I just said. Now, don't forget, Trump ran on the economy and he won. But now he's talking about blowing out the debt ceiling for the next 2 years. Well, the debt ceiling is the only break we have. That's it. Why? Why does Trump want to remove the debt ceiling? There's only one reason. He doesn't want to put a brake. Because he also wants to keep asset prices high. Right? He went to Wall Street. He just went there, rang the bell in. And he said, we don't want any downturns. We don't want any low days. Right? Because he looks at that as a barometer of success for his presidency. Okay? Is that what the average, is that going to help the average person? Yeah. I mean, it helps people who are invested in the stock market. Helps them. But priced in real money, if you price the Dow in real money gold, or the S&P in gold, okay, they've actually lost purchasing power, okay, over the past decade, 2 decades, okay? Because you have to price it in real money, okay? When I look at stuff, I price everything. I say, well, how many ounces of gold does it take to buy this today versus 10 years ago? Okay? Because that's what it should be pegged to, right? That's what the founders wanted. There was a reason why the founders went away from the continental dollar and went to sound money, gold, right? It was to preserve the wealth of the nation. And just to kind of put it into perspective, all these Keynesians out there that are afraid of prices dropping, during the entire 1800s, okay, in this country, during a civil war, we had numerous weather disasters, okay? All sorts of things were happening. Prices went down for the entire century. Why? Government was so small, you didn't even know it was there. And because government was so small, the rest of the world wanted to come here. And that's what they did. The rest of the world, they left everything they knew to arrive at our shores. And they risked their lives, everything. They left family behind, okay? And they didn't do it for welfare, right? They didn't do it for, getting some weird subsidy, okay? They did it because we led in economic and personal freedom. That's why they did it, okay? I wish more Americans today took the Constitution seriously as our ancestors did when they first floated here. Because the truth is, most Americans don't. We'll wave the flag. We'll go and salute our troops, and God bless them. God bless our brothers and sisters, by the way, in uniform around the world. I hope President Trump brings them home, okay? If you're going to make America great again, let's start by bringing our boys and girls home, men and women. But it's really important that we understand the freedoms that we had, that we've lost. I mean, I can't even tell you the amount of freedoms that we've lost over the past few decades alone. I mean, since 9/11. Okay, your banking, going in your banking. There's no more private banking. Okay, that's all gone. Okay, now they want to go crypto. They want to get a digital currency. That would be a complete disaster. People like me, forget you, a guy like me, I would be deplatformed in 3 seconds. Because unless crypto is backed by something, it's nothing but air. is the greater fool. It's got a price, and I want to talk about Bitcoin in a minute because I have to, but what'll happen is if they go full digital, and maybe you say something political, maybe you offended somebody, maybe you're too masculine, maybe you like the Second Amendment. No, we're going to debank you. Okay, we'll just hit a button. You've been blown up. And I have proof of this. Look at what we do to other countries that don't bow to us. Look at what our government does to sovereign nations that we don't like. We blow up their economy, right? We just debank them. Sir, you can't go on the SWIFT. You can't do any of it. And that's why, partially, why you have the BRIC nations and other countries looking for alternative currencies. They're making other currencies backed by gold. And for people who think that can't happen because we are the biggest purchasers of other people's stuff, let me tell you something. The hard part is not buying something. That takes nothing. You just give it the money. The hard part is saving your money, building the factory, hiring the people, getting the tools and equipment, to build the stuff, to float it over here, for us to give them IOUs, because that's all a dollar bill is to them. It's an IOU, right? And now if you tell those same people who collect your IOUs, oh, you can't buy in our country, and we're going to punish you for selling to us, right? So think about this. We print money. They send us a full ship full of goods, and we send back an empty ship with a little bit of money in it. We don't export. We have the largest trade deficit in history. We're literally in a manufacturing recession that they've been hiding now for a little bit over a year. And these countries are vendor financing us. They have to keep loaning us money to keep selling us stuff. So they're getting the shit end of the stick, pardon my French, right? Because what do they have? They have the dollar bills that are being destroyed every second of every day. And we get the stuff. That's where I think President Trump has it a little backwards. Now, Trump is right to call out, look, our manufacturing has been decimated. We need better trade rules and regulations to be followed. All of that is 100% true. There's nothing debatable about that. But the key thing that he's missing is that if you want to bring up to be able to export more, to bring jobs home, what you have to do is get government off their back at home. It is harder in the United States to start a business. If anybody's ever had a business in the United States, they'll tell you it's hard. Versus in Beijing, China. That's the problem. In China, you're not saddled with $36 trillion in debt either. Okay? They're a fraction. They're actually not a debtor nation when you consider their assets and what they export. They're actually a creditor nation. Okay? We're the largest debtor nation on the planet. I was saying to somebody recently that we're probably the most debt in the whole universe. If there's another alien society out there that is as dumb as us to rack up this much debt, I hope they don't come here, because then they'll, show our people how to be even worse. I believe we're probably the worst in the whole galaxy. But I digress from that. But if President Trump wants to be a hero for capitalism, freedom, economic and personal freedom, then what he should do And he doesn't need Doge to do this. He doesn't need Elon. He doesn't need Vivek. Now, again, I have no problem with those guys. I think they're square, square to a point. Everybody has a point. Is tell Congress, if you add 1 cent to that budget, I don't care what it is, I'm not signing it. He's got a pen for a reason. He has a whole branch of government. Use it. And, Republicans they're squirrely. Because when a Democrat's in office, they'll say, look at what Obama spent. Look at what Biden spent. All valid. But then when a Republican's in, Bush or Trump, they'll say, oh no, that was Congress. As if Congress can sign the bill and put it through without the president's signature. They just skip that whole part. Now, last time Trump was in office, he had over, I think, 43 seats versus versus now. Now he's only got, I think, 2 or 3 or 5 seats. It's such a slimmer majority. I mean, it's razor thin. So, if you didn't cut spending with almost 50 extra people on your team, I'm not sure he's going to do it in this term. And the signals that I'm seeing, especially with what Republicans just did, Mike Johnson passing this bill, I just see more spending. Let's put this into perspective. Even if Elon Musk was to cut $1 trillion, well, we add 1.2 trillion per year right now. So he'd only be erasing the interest on the debt at best, for that year. Right? We need substantial cuts. And these are tough conversations for politicians because they've been lying to you and to me and to everybody for decades. They have convinced Americans we have a printer and we're just going to use that printer, until indefinitely. And we can have all the government that we want and there'll be no repercussions for that. And because of these programs, people like my mother, my aunt, they're on Social Security. And now Social Security checks don't pay the butcher no more for a lot of people. And they're 2 of the people that they don't. And so I'm subsidizing their homes, their to live. Matter of fact, I was telling some friends of mine, I said I had to send them food, okay? For Christmas, I sent them food, okay? Because I know that they'll use it. These are prideful people, okay? But why is that? Why am I sending them food? They worked for 35, 40 years, right? These were not lazy people. They own their own homes. Their homes are paid off, for God's sake. Their homes are paid off and they still can't make it. Because they were lied to. They were told, hey, when it's your turn, Mommy and Daddy government have you. But Mommy and Daddy government don't have you. Because even with the COLA increases in Social Security, they never match or keep up with the actual inflation rate. Jerome Powell just had a meeting the other day when he lowered interest rates 25 basis points. And he explained that inflation is going to be, as he used it, sticky for the next 2 years, up to 2 years. This is somebody who said it's transitory, this is going to come and go. He also said in his Fed meeting that just happened last Friday that the economy's strong, so we could afford this cut. Okay? Well, he must not get the same job numbers that I get and you get, the revisions, okay? Where almost 1 million jobs last year were overcounted. They were never there. 1 million jobs, okay? I see these reports and it's just complete bullshit, right, when you see them. And it's the same thing with inflation. If you counted inflation today, the way we did under Ronald Reagan, just that long ago, that's not a long time, the actual rate would be somewhere around 8 or 9%. The prints just came in, it just went up, it's closer to 3 now. Okay, so they're going in the wrong direction. Powell said that we're in restrictive territory. Well, if it was restrictive territory, then people wouldn't be borrowing money. The government would be cutting back, just like it happened under Reagan, right? When rates went all the way up above 20%. Okay? I tell people, I said, people think that these home rates are high. They're not high. 7%, even 8% wouldn't be high. I remember when I had a rate of 18%. But back then, you get a home for a tenth of the price. So what happened? Well, because the Federal Reserve has been artificially pumping up the housing market, okay, with artificially low rates by the central planners who know everything, they've artificially raised the price of homes. And it destroyed the housing market. I have friends who are builders. I'm in the real estate business. And my family's been in construction, all sorts of this side of the business. And the government has destroyed this sector. They've ruined it. The free market in housing, there is no free market. And all of this has caused prices to go through the roof. There was a meme that I posted recently talking about how, a kid in their 30s, 2 kids in their 30s, a couple of decades ago, they were buying a house. Now a kid in their 30s, they can't even get their teeth done, right? I mean, it's funny, but it's not. It's truth. And, this is real. I mean, my parents, growing up, could have a doctor come to the house, okay? And it was only a few dollars. It wasn't much, okay? Talking about doctors and, the CEO who just got shot by this punk bitch, excuse my language. He's a punk. I'm sorry. You shoot somebody in the back, you are a coward, okay? Because a real man, this guy had $30 million coming to him, okay? This was not a sad sack case, okay? Now, but I digress from that just for a moment. You could get a doctor come to your house for a few dollars, okay? They actually came with aspirins or whatever, and they would treat you, and you paid them cash, okay? And it wasn't a list full of things to fill out, ridiculous questions to answer, like, do you feel like hurting yourself? Well, yeah, I do. After listening to you for 15 minutes, I actually now want to hurt myself. Could you please get out of the room and give me the doctor, right? I mean, look, I had 4 surgeries this year, so I am very sympathetic to people with bills that are crushing, okay? Yes, I got bitch slapped in check-in for my surgeries. You know what I didn't do? I didn't go chase the people down and shoot them, all right? That's ridiculous, right? Because we live in a civilized society, or we're supposed to. I want to bring back the health care that we had back when my parents could call the local doctor to the house. You're not going to get that with government, and you're not going to get that doing it Luigi's way, right? Little tidbit with Luigi, because I think it needs to be said. I said it on my technically first episode that's launching midnight tonight. Luigi's grandmother put in her will that anybody accused or convicted of a violent crime, they lose their trust fund. Luigi had a $30 million trust fund coming to him, and he blew it. This guy was on camera. This guy, there was so much evidence at the freaking crime scene and on him. I mean, all he had to do was the only thing he's left is just say, yeah, I did it. You know. Also, hi Ken, hi Sarah. I love you guys. Ken is my son and Sarah is my godmother. Goddaughter. Emma, I love you too. I love you guys. So he lost his $30 million trust fund. Now, I have lawyers who are friends of mine, and I asked them, I says, have you seen a clause like that in a will that says, hey, if you're accused of, you know, a violent crime, you know, you get X from the will? They said no. They said normally it's like your age, or you got to finish school, or something like this, right? Luigi's grandmother's name was Mary, so because I remember I'm a Catholic, Mother Mary, right? It's kind of a big deal for us. So I'm just wondering what Mother Mary knew to put that in her clause, because she died a year ago. Maybe she's seen a radicalization in Luigi and wanted to protect her and her husband's legacy, which, by the way, they had to be worth near $1 billion, okay? Because they had dozens of grandchildren, bunch of kids, right? And he's getting, well, what was going to get $30 million. So I'm happy that he lost his $30 million. But let me explain what he could have done that I would have respected more, Luigi. I would have liked if he took his $30 million, went into government, okay? He could have went into Congress and advocated for those things. I would have more respect for him doing that. And I can't stand government, but at least then he can at least try to put forth something that is of positive. He could have went and crowdfunded to start a business. Hey, we're going to insure people that get dropped. And if he could figure out a solution for that, count me in. I'm an investor. I'd love to invest in something like that. I'm sure you would too. You know, who wouldn't want to help people who get denied health care? Right? But instead, he was a coward and he shoots the guy in the back. He's no hero. You know who heroes are? I'm going to tell you right now who I believe the heroes are, and you could agree or disagree. Heroes are people who help their neighbor in times of need. Heroes are people who answer the call when needed. Heroes are run into a burning building. Heroes are willing to take a bullet for you, right? They sign up when their time, when their duty, you know, when their time is called, right? They don't have to be dragged to serve. They don't have to be dragged or forced to help somebody, right? Heroes jump into action when nobody else will, okay? Like Penny on this New York subway who was just found not guilty. God bless. I can't even believe he got a fair trial up there, but in New York, but he did. And I can't believe that people don't know the difference between Daniel Penny and this Luigi Manioni, whatever the fuck is, well, excuse my language, whatever his name is. Like, I can't even believe that people would put them two people in the same category. Here you have a guy, signed up when his time was due, fought for this country, sees people in danger, steps in, does the right thing, and unfortunately somebody passed away. And that's horrible. And I pray for his soul and that God forgives him when he gets to the pearly gates. Then you got another guy who gets radicalized in school, gets radicalized somewhere on the internet. Sorry, the blue hair spaces, whatever that is. Okay? New soy boy internet. I don't know where this guy got radicalized. Probably school, college. And he shoots a guy in the back. And you want to compare the two? I mean, do I even have to? I can't even believe I have to say this in 2024 to educated people, people who went to school, people who have children. I got to explain the difference between Daniel Petty and this Luigi Mangione. Now, mind you, again, I said 15 times, I agree. Healthcare in this country is screwed up. Shooting somebody in the back is not the answer. And look at what government has done to healthcare. Look at what they've done. They've destroyed it. What I would like is today's technology with yesterday's freedom. Now, we can disagree on how to get there, but we should all agree that violence is not the answer. Nobody has a right to put their hands on anybody else except in defense. You know, and that's coming from somebody who had his brother murdered a couple of years ago by a coward. And when my brother was murdered, I never once advocated to steal someone else's gun rights away. How many people would do that? You know, my brother would be mad at me if I advocated to steal somebody's rights away, because he was like me. He believed in the Constitution. He believed in free will. He believed in consequences for your actions. And we need more people to stand up for what's right. We need more people to stop doing what's politically motivating and do actually what's best for the country, what's best for your family, right? To be a provider, right? To be there when the call is ringing, right? You got to answer that call, no matter what time of the day it is. So I'm gonna leave that story at that. That story's been, pounded into the ground. I'm gonna end with Bitcoin. So, hey, we had $100,000 Bitcoin. Thank you, Trump, for that. Now, I admittedly do not own any Bitcoin. It's complete air. It's nothing. It's not a numeral. It is not currency. It is nothing but a digital trade, numbers on a computer generated out of thin air. Now, if you gamble on it and you do great with it, hey, you made a few bucks, that's great. God bless you. I hope you get to enjoy those earnings with your family. Where I disagree with the Bitcoin community is when you start suckering in other people. When you start comparing it to gold or comparing it to actual currency, because it's not. It shouldn't even have the word currency in its title, because it's not a currency. By definition, it's not a currency. But we have to understand how Bitcoin got to 100,000 recently. And that's because you had Trump, RFK, Elon go to the Bitcoin conference and basically advocate, well, Trump didn't advocate, more Robert Kennedy did, that we're going to go on a Bitcoin standard. We're going to have a reserve of Bitcoin, Senator Loomis has a bill out saying they're going to buy 1 million Bitcoin, okay? Now, in the bill, it says you can't use it for 20 years. Well, what good is a reserve if you can't use it, right? Because the whole point of a reserve is if you have a bad time, you could sell it, use it. So that really made no sense to me, why she would put that in there. But to have a reserve on something that nobody needs, the only thing you can do with a Bitcoin is I can trade it to somebody else. I can gamble with it. I can hope that the greater fool comes along later to buy it at a higher price. So right now, the last time I checked, Bitcoin was around 92,000. So it's come down about $8,000 from its high. I'm sorry, it came down about $12,000 from its high, and now it's settled at about $92,000 per Bitcoin. And you have people like Michael Saylor from MicroStrategies, who his whole business is now buying Bitcoin, and he just announced last Monday or something he bought another $1 billion worth of Bitcoin. And so you have a lot of FOMO going on here with the Bitcoin. And I've always said, I want people to be able to buy to have Bitcoin, to trade Bitcoin. Hey, if you want that kind of an asset, that's great. But what I don't want is the government to force me to buy it, with the stupid reserve, So that's what's really pumping up the price, is this thing going around saying that it's going to become a reserve. So I think we might. I think it's got a little ways more up to go. I've been wrong about Bitcoin now for 10 years. I've been wrong. I regret not buying it back when it was $100 a coin. Actually, the first time I knew it was about $50 a coin. I regret not buying it, but I don't regret not explaining to people what it is. And what it is a digital chain letter. It's a digital Ponzi. It's, it has, it has a price, but it doesn't have value. Okay? The blockchain has value, and I believe the blockchain could be used to help make things more efficient in the economy. But the strange part of that is we haven't really seen that part yet. Now, if you're winning in Bitcoin right now and you're way up, pull some chips off the table. Don't be the last loser sitting at the table, holding Bitcoin to the end. Because Bitcoin has gone down 80% several times, right? There's nothing stopping it from going down again. There is no floor with Bitcoin, right? It's all hype. Now, just to put this into perspective, up until about 6-7 weeks ago, gold was up 30% to Bitcoin. Okay? We were crushing it. And then Trump won, and then gold took a slight hit. But now gold is back on the upswing again. And I think traders are starting to see, with the Dow being down 10 days in a row, the S&P is down. I think traders are finally understanding. They're waking up, saying, hey, wait a minute. The economy's a lot weaker than we thought. They just watched what Congress did. It doesn't look like spending is going to be under control anytime soon. That's bad for dollars. That's good for gold. That's good for silver. Silver right now is an incredible buy. I mean, priced in gold, silver is way undervalued. Another thing that's way undervalued, oil. Oil is at like a 30-year low priced in gold. We've never seen this before. I think oil has a ways to go up. Now, I expect that with Trump coming in, there's going to be more drilling and stuff like this taking place. It's going to help keep a lid on prices. But oil has a ways to go to catch up to gold. So we're watching commodities go through the roof. And that's supposed to be the barometer for the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve is supposed to watch commodities. And when commodities go up, they're supposed to slow the printers. They're supposed to tell Congress, hey, hit the brakes, right? Because that tells them that they're destroying the dollar. So when gold goes up, that is dollars being destroyed. So that's kind of the way you should look at it. Just to kind of, with the mania going on with Bitcoin, sports players, some sports players being paid in Bitcoin. Now, I don't have all the details on this. My buddy Raymond Weed had posed that question. That's great if you get paid in Bitcoin and Bitcoin keeps going up. But here's my thing. What happens if Bitcoin loses 80% of its value? Can the player come back and try and get cash? I wouldn't bet my whole career on Bitcoin. Would you? If you're just going to gamble with it, that's fine. But I don't want to be paid in Bitcoin. You could pay me in gold. I'll take gold. I'll take silver. I'll take real assets like houses, cars, food, things people need, right? But things that people don't need, I don't need a Beanie Baby. I certainly don't need Bitcoin. So, with that said, I really hope that people enjoyed what I've put together here. I've been working on this for a while. And with everything I got going on, surgeries and family and other businesses I've got going on, it's been really difficult, to say the least. It's a lot more work than I actually thought that it was going into this. But I feel like there needs to be another voice out there, a more libertarian voice, a more truthful voice on these issues. And I really hope that you guys enjoyed it. I have a YouTube channel, YouTube/Brew Media. I'm on X at Brew Media. Instagram, Brew Media Official. Okay? So hit me up over there, like me, add me, subscribe, please share, and it's really going to help get the word out, and push back on the lies that we're being told constantly by both sides, by all sides. And I appreciate you. I want to leave you with this, that I want to thank everybody for all the birthday wishes that I got recently. I always try, every year I always try to, thank everybody individually as they say happy birthday to me. And this year I was thankful the Lord gave me the energy to do it. And it really was thoughtful. And I want to also say thank you to everybody who sat here listening to me. You guys could be doing 1,000 other things, but instead you guys are in here with me. And I couldn't be more grateful to you guys. And I love yous. And please be safe. I'm going to do a small clip probably tomorrow for Christmas Eve. Because this is an important holiday for a lot of people. And if you don't see me, the things that I think about during Christmas are, when I look at my table every year, and I say this all the time, but every year it just seems like there are more seats that are empty in my house, and the house is much more quieter now. And so I know a lot of you people understand that. And if you have a full house of people, you're blessed. If you have your parents are still alive, God bless them. Tell them that you love them. Bury the hatchet. Don't not talk to them for ridiculous reasons like you voted for Trump or you voted for Biden or Kamala, whatever you did. It's stupid. Because these people are going to come and go. But your family and your friends should be there forever. So we pray for those people that are gone. We pray for the Lord to forgive us. And we are thankful and grateful for what we have. If you're going through some medical issues and you're hurt, we pray for you too and hope that you heal soon. And we thank you and wish nothing but the best for you. God bless. Thank you very much.